On everybody, BDJ Gaming here, back with another MLB The Show 24 franchise episode. We got three more remaining. We have the Oakland Athletics, which is this episode, the Seattle Mariners, and we finish off with the World Series champs from last season, the Texas Rangers. So three more to go, and I'll have some other maybe potential MLB The Show content or other game, content on the channel. Stay tuned in for that. So let's get into it, man. We got the Oakland Athletics, a team that, listen, this might be a very quick video. The Oakland Athletics are nowhere near ready to compete. We all know this. I mean, look at the roster in the game. They got 380 overalls as their top three players. Mason Miller's the only one even over 85. Brent Rooker definitely should be a little higher. He's been pretty good for them. Other than that, I mean, they got a lot of either younger players who aren't really there yet or just guys who are just what they are. So let's take a look at this roster and what we're going to be working with. We got Paul Blackburn, who's been their best starter. He's on the injured list right now. We're going to have to add him to the 40-man. I'll do all that outside the video. He's been pretty solid the last two seasons. ERA a little bit over 4. And he's a guy probably they're going to look to trade potentially if he's healthy. He's 30 years old. So, maybe we keep him for the 3 seasons, add some more pitchers around him, maybe have him be a third or fourth starter. He's definitely not a number 1, but definitely could be a number 3, number 4. We have Mitch Spence, who they got in the Rule 5 drafts, actually been pretty good for them. J.P. Sears, who's been a reliable starter the last 2 seasons, could be another guy they look to trade. We'll see what we do with them. Hogan Harris, who was not very good last year. Joey Estes, 22 years old, one of their young pitchers they got. And then you also have Alex Wood, the veteran, who's been on the injured list most of the season, been a very reliable starter for most of his career. He's been healthy. Adrian Martinez, Ross Stripling, who they signed the offseason as well to be a veteran in that rotation. Him and Alex Wood haven't really worked out due to health and just inconsistencies. I mean, you look at the minor leagues, like they got Luis Medina, who they got in the trade with the Yankees. But I mean, you look at, other than that, I mean, you got JT Ginn, who see potential. You got Joe Boyle, who could potentially be something, see potential. And you got Kim Waldercheck. I think I'm pronouncing that right. 26 years old. I mean, they don't really have a lot of good pitching prospects. So that's something we definitely got to look to draft or maybe get in trades. We got the relief pitching core, Zach Jackson, who's been with them for 2 seasons. 29 years old. We got him signed. Actually, he's a free agent after the season. So if he's pitching well and we get a good trade offer, maybe that's somebody we look to trade. Austin Adams, who's been really good for the Oakland A's this season. I think he struggled lately. That's why his overall dropped. Scott Alexander, the veteran. Lucas Urseg, another guy who's only been in the major leagues 1 year, but he's 28. Kyle Moeller, former Braves prospect, just hasn't really been able to be consistent or healthy throughout his career so far. You also got TJ McFarland, who's really, when he pitched for my Cardinals in 2021, he was remarkable. And ever since then, he just hasn't really been able to replicate that. And you got Aaron Brooks, and then again, not really any impressive prospect. That's one thing that confused me about this Oakland A's team. As like, it ain't like they don't have any good young players, but you look at their major league roster, and it's a lot of just veteran guys who really are just, they are what they are, really, especially from a position player standpoint. Like catcher is really the only position young players who have really big futures. Like you got Shea Langoliers, you got Tyler Soderstrom. He can play first, left, right, catcher. So catcher, we're set. Kyle McCann could also be a backup catcher. First base, you got Ryan Noda. Again, no first base prospect to really be happy about. So first base is definitely going to be something we have to look at. Second base, I do like Zach Geloff. I think he's going to be very good for them. He is one of their young players. I think has a bright future in the position player standpoint. Again, no B or A potential second baseman's after him. Third base, you got Abraham Toro, the veteran, been around a while. They gave him an opportunity. Jordan Diaz, it's been okay throughout his major league career so far. Got a few third basemen who definitely could be excited about. Jacob Wilson, Jordan Groshans, who they got from the Yankees, I think a few weeks ago. Shortstop, you got Logan Davison. You got Aledmus Diaz, who they didn't update the roster yet. They did release Aledmus Diaz. They just didn't update that yet. And then Nick Allen, who's not known for his bats, but shortstop, again, another position with not a lot of prospects to be happy about. Left field, Miguel Andujar, who's really been hitting for them ever since he came off the IL. So it's good to see him being healthy and just hitting. J.J. Bleday, who's been okay for Oakland, hasn't really been what they thought. And then Seth Brown's been horrible. He's got a lot of power, but a lot of swing and miss. Center field, you got Estuary Ruiz, who's really a guy who gets on base at a lot of speed and very versatile. It just feels like the Oakland Athletics don't really know how to get the most out of him. I don't know. It's weird. Daz Cameron, who was out of the major leagues for a whole year, now back with the Oakland A's. And then right field, you got Brent Rooker, who a lot of teams are going to be interested in. Very good power bat, 30 home runs last year. But you look at the prospect depth, again, in the outfield, J.J. Bleday, Ruiz, and Rooker are major league outfields, the only guys with B potential. Shortstops, no B or A potential. Third base, you got some interesting prospects there. Second base, besides Geloff, no prospects that are really worth nothing. First base, not a lot of prospects. Like for a team, especially for a team that traded Matt Olson, Matt Chapman, they traded Sean Murphy. They've traded some big names, and it just feels like, Shea Langoliers was obviously in that trade, and he's been pretty good for them. But like a lot of the pieces they got back, it's just like, damn, that's all they got back. Like I just am like amazed how this front office didn't get a lot back for those three players. I mean, those three players are all-star caliber guys, and it's like it just didn't even seem like they got really much back that was worth it. I don't know, just my thought process. Let me know what you guys think about that in the comments about some of the deals they made in the past, because it just feels like they didn't get the prospect capital they probably hoped to get. And sometimes that happens in trades where a prospect just doesn't pan out or something. But it just when you trade three all-star players and you really don't have much, pretty crazy. So catcher, we're good. First base, definitely got to look for a first baseman. Second base, we'll let Geloff develop. Third base, we got to look at most likely. Shortstop, left field, center field, we're good. Right field, we're good. Closer, Mason Miller, we're set. Relief corps, pretty solid. Got some solid names. And then the starting rotation is not very good as well. So a lot of work to be done with this Oakland A's team. I'm going to look through free agency. I'm going to get the 40-man roster figured out. I'm going to get this first season started. And maybe we'll surprise the world in our first season. Let's get to it. Trade we're going to make. Casey Mize, who's having a really good season with the Tigers. 5-1, 58 innings pitched, 2.16 ERA. He's 26, signed for the rest of this franchise, so that helps out. For Paul Blackburn. Now, Paul Blackburn's having an okay season. Not been too, amazing. About where his career numbers are. I mean, I guess you could say he's not really having a bad year if you compare it to his career numbers. Pre-agent that for next season. So we're going to go younger and get Casey Mize for Paul Blackburn. So at the trade deadline, the Phillies offered this for Abraham Toro, and I was like, Abraham Toro's getting us three potential solid, not great, but solid C-level prospects back. And Abraham Toro, 10 home runs, 41 RBIs, 242 average. Not a bad season. And the Phillies are offering us a Marion Boyd, who, 20 years old, could potentially turn into something, probably not in this franchise. We have a relief pitcher right here, Griff McGarry, 24 years old, and then we have a starting pitcher, Freddie Tarnick, right here, who's 25. So all guys around 25, solid potential. Toro's not a part of our long-term future, so why not do this trade? So we are at our first trade deadline, ladies and gentlemen, and if you look at our record right now, 40-69. Not really surprising when you look at the Oakland Athletics roster. Not going to make the playoffs in our first season. We might not make the playoffs in any of these seasons. Not that I'm trying to sound underconfident, but if I'm sticking to logic with the Oakland A's, there's not a lot we can really spend money-wise to get big-time names in here. Maybe I'll pull some magic like I did with the White Sox and get this team turned around next season. So let's see if there's any veterans, maybe they're having good years or free agents to be. We can maybe flip for some assets. Let's see. Ruiz, pretty solid season. 5 home runs, 37 runs batted in. He's not really striking out a lot. He has 32 stolen bases. Well, he had 67 last year. So a solid season for Ruiz. Max Schumann, not great. Brent Rooker, power a little down, but still 15 home runs. He's hitting 219, though. Numbers are down across the board. Shea Langoliers not having a great season. Showing a little bit of pop again this year, 14 home runs. J.J. Bleday is actually having a pretty good year, 13 home runs, 26 runs batted in for J.J. He's hitting 265, so he's been getting on base pretty well too, 342 on base. Miguel Andujar, okay season so far. Looks like we have an injury as well. Zach Geloff maybe third base. Oh yeah, because we traded Abraham Toro. Yes, that's right. So we moved Geloff back to second base. Let's see how Geloff's doing. Not bad. 252 average, 8 home runs, 27 RBIs. Ryan Noda actually having a pretty solid year, better than what I expected. And Aledmus Diaz is showing a little bit of pop, but not hitting for average. So our lineup's definitely a big concern. Not a lot of guys hitting for high average. It's been okay power, but nothing to really write home about. So our lineup's definitely a concern. Tyler Soderstrom, been pretty good, 274 average. Definitely got to get him in the lineup more. Kyle McCann's not done much. Daz Cameron surprisingly has 10 home runs, especially with his power numbers. And then that's our lineup. So it's been, not great, not great, not a great lineup at all. So let's take a look at the pitching staff. Casey Mize has been excellent, 7-7, 2.90 ERA. Mitch Spence has been decent as a number 2 starter. J.P. Sears is having a solid year, 7.11 ERA, just over 4. Hogan Harris has been spectacular this year, 2.9. I shouldn't say spectacular, but very good. I misused spectacular. 2.97 run average. And then Joey Estes, 4.32 ERA. So our rotations numbers really aren't that bad. I mean, we got 2 guys with ERAs under 3, the rest just over 4. So I'm actually impressed with this rotation. I thought it'd be a lot worse. Ross Stripling's been okay as a long relief pitcher. Freddie Tarnick, who we just got as a pitch. We did sign Carl Edwards Jr. in free agency. He was a veteran pitcher to help out. 2.86 ERA. We do got him signed for next season, so I might not trade Carl Edwards Jr. just so we have a valuable piece to our bullpen next year as we try to compete. Matt Barnes, another guy we signed to a 2-year deal, very cheap, 1.9 million, and look at his numbers: 40 innings pitched, 1.34 ERA. Now the question is, do we sell while his value is probably going to be as high as it is? That's the big question. 1.34 ERA is remarkable. So we might have to see what's out there for Matt Barnes. Scott Alexander's been really good as well. 3.18 earned run average. Austin Adams has been horrible this year. Zach Jackson's not been great either. And then Kyle Fuller's actually been getting the job done. And then Mason Miller, ERA of 6 for Mason Miller. Wow, we might actually have to move him out of the closer role. That is not good. 6.11 ERA for our best relief pitcher. So the bullpen actually been a bright spot outside of probably Adams, Jackson, and Miller. And maybe I should move Jackson. Maybe I should put Matt Barnes in the closer spot. He's been very good, so have to see how he does in that spot. Looks like we got to send a relief pitcher down. But overall, though, the bullpen's numbers are okay. There definitely could be some better numbers, but I'm actually impressed with the pitching. It looks like our offense has really been what's holding us back, so that's definitely something I got to think about in the off season. So I'm going to see if there's any trades out there, see if there's any deals we can make, and I'll send me the end of the season, show you guys what everybody did when we get on with the second season. Trade I'm going to make looking forward to next season. We're going to get ourselves a left fielder. Even though J.J. Bleday's been very good, who knows if that's going to continue. We're going to get Jared Kelenic. He's only 24 years old still. He's not having the greatest season, but still got a little bit of power, contact. Going to trade Kobe Thomas, who's been decent in Double-A, and Miguel Andujar, who's having an okay season, not really a part of our long-term plan. So we're going to get ourselves a left fielder. So another piece we're going to get looking forward to next season is Patrick Wisdom from the Chicago Cubs. We're going to trade Gerardo Reyes, 30-year-old relief pitcher, kind of just throwing him in the deal. And we're going to give them a young third baseman in Jordan Diaz, who's playing okay in AAA. Maybe a change of scenery gets him going, so we get a big bat to put at third base. Officially in the books. Let's see how everybody did. We had some league leaders. Ruiz led the league with 50 doubles. That's impressive, not going to lie. Didn't expect that. So we ended up finishing with 100 losses. Not where we wanted to finish. What I expected was around that. 100 losses, though, is still tough. So we got some work to do. Let's say everybody did. Let's take a look at the pitching rotation first. Casey Mize was everything we had hoped for and more. I mean, 2.89 ERA. They get a lot of run support, it looked like. 10-14 record don't do that ERA justice. Pitched 200 innings as well, which is very rare in today's game. So hopefully he builds off that going into next season. Mitch Spence was solid, nothing to write home about. J.P. Sears' ERA went up a little bit in the second half. Still a solid campaign overall, though. And then how about Hogan Harris, an ERA of 3.05? And then Joey Estes was pretty decent in that fifth starter role as well. So our starting rotation got the job done. Ross Stripling would get his money off the books. We definitely could use that money, especially for a low budget team like this, to make some moves in other areas. Carl Edwards Jr. was a hell of a free agent signing. 82 innings pitched, 2.41 ERA. Zach Jackson, expect him better. He is a free, or no, he's not a free agent. He just said that, I guess, because he's in the minor leagues. So we got him signed for another 3 seasons. Hopefully he bounces back. Not the most awful season, but definitely what he hasn't been in his career. Scott Alexander, a solid campaign. Do we bring him back? He's 34. We'll see. Austin Adams was just had a dreadful season. 7.14 earned run average. Yikes. Mason Miller just didn't get it done as well. He did lower his ERA a little bit, but I mean, I thought he was going to be lights out. He just didn't get the job done. Lucas Erceg, who was hurt, pitched well when he was healthy. ERA under 2. Matt Barnes, ERA went up a little bit in that closer role, but still a great campaign all around for Matt Barnes. So some of the free agent signings we made paid off. So let's take a look at the lineup, which was a concern at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline. Ruiz ended up putting up a very good campaign, 7 home runs, 57 RBIs. He had a slugging career high, on base career high, and average career high. So career highs for him all around the board. Max Schumann, not nothing crazy. Brent Rooker, still a good year overall for Brent, drove in 70. Patrick Wisdom drove in 100 RBIs this year and then 34 runs batted. So I'm hoping him and Rooker can really be those two veteran bats in the middle of our lineup next season. Even if we had another bat potentially, those two guys are definitely going to carry the offense when it comes to power. Jared Kelenic, not a bad year at all. I'll take that. J.J. Bleday ended up putting up impressive campaigns, but we ended up moving him to the DH. Shea Langoliers with 19 home runs, another solid campaign. Ryan Noda was good. Zach Geloff, about where he was last year. So lineup really came together in the second half. I don't think it was as bad as it looked at the All-Star break or at the trade deadline. Tyler Soderstrom gave us a really good year in a platoon role, 10 home runs, 31 runs batted in, 271 average. Nick Allen didn't provide much. Kyle McCann didn't either. And then Daz Cameron with 13 home runs. So we look at this team. I'm going to sim the postseason, see who wins the World Series here. The Phillies defeat the Twins. So we got some work to do. We got to get some offense. We probably need to get another starter, maybe another reliever, and add maybe another bat to this lineup. I don't think our team is that far off as maybe we could potentially be. We got some potential with guys like Rooker and Wisdom and Kelenic. We did add 2 important pieces. They're not going to change our franchise, obviously, with Wisdom and Kelenic, but they're definitely better than what we had. If we had a big bat with Langoliers and Wisdom and Kelenic and Bleday, Rooker, Ruiz, I think we could have a pretty solid offense. We ain't going to have an elite offense, but it definitely could get us some more wins. And then the rotation, again, they got the job done, but you can't have Casey Mize as a 79 overall be your best pitcher. As good as he was last year, is he going to be able to replicate that? Who knows? So we're definitely going to have to go out and get at least an 84 overall pitcher to lead our staff. We'll see what's out there. So I'm going to get to work, and I'll see you guys beginning of next season. About to head into our second season. I did make some moves. Now, were any of them big-time moves? No. I think they fixed some of the holes our team had. We ended up signing Kikuchi to a 1-year, $12 million deal. I didn't think that was too outrageous, especially when they paid Ross Stripling that money. We pretty much got that off the books. We paid Kikuchi that. He had a really good year last year, 3.03 earned run average. Him and Casey Mize hopefully lead us to maybe a wild card berth. We'll see. But we're also counting on guys like J.P. Sears, Mitch Spence, Joey Estes to repeat their years from last season. And that might be a little bit of a gamble. Hopefully we're at least in it by the trade deadline. We got Kevin Kelly in a trade. Now, it was like some shortstop prospect. You guys wouldn't even have seen him anyway. I think we got him as a free agent or something. Coming off a really good year as well, 2.04 ERA. Thought, why not get him to add to this bullpen that was already pretty good last year. Mason Miller. Oh, yeah, my bad. We also signed Dylan Floro, veteran. Had a really good year last year as well with the Nationals, 2.85 earned run average. So we had 2 guys coming off really good seasons. We had Carl Edwards Jr. pitch well, Matt Barnes. Mason Miller, we're really hoping he can bounce back. If not, we might have to look to move him for a big-time package to get something, better back if we can. But we'll have to see how he performs. And then catcher, we still got Langoliers and Soderstrom. First base, Ryan Noda. Didn't have a terrible year. There weren't really a lot of first base options that we could really afford. Or, I mean, I guess we could afford, but I wanted to keep it, again, realistic and not spend the bank because we did spend a pretty good amount of money this offseason compared to what the Oakland A's usually spend. I think we spent like 20 million maybe. Zach Geloff will be our second base. We did sign Gleyber Torres. I know Gleyber Torres has really been struggling. They dropped his overall. 4.8 million I thought wasn't bad. He's still 28, so he's not old. He still could turn around. Not sure where he fits in. Maybe platooning with Geloff. Maybe he, guy off the bench. We'll see. Thought, why not upgrade our bench a little bit? Patrick Wisdom at third base. We signed Paul DeYoung to play shortstop. 1 year, $5 million. He had 28 home runs last year, and his power against righties, 82. So you add him with some of our other big-time power hitters, I think it's a good fit. We still got Jared Kelenic in left field, Ruiz in center field, and Brent Rooker in right field. So we added some, pieces. None of them were going to, knock your socks off like, oh my goodness, the A's are going to the World Series. None of that. But I think it adds to what was an impressive year for some of our players last year. And hopefully we could at least have a 500 or above 500 record. The best case scenario, though, is at least make a wild card. So let's see how the second season goes. Let's get to it. Trade with the Brew Crew. Bryce Wilson, who's having a really good year. 51 innings pitched as a starter, 2.81 earned run average. For Hogan Harris, not having a bad year himself. Really an even trade. Bryce Wilson's obviously having a better year. They're both around the same age. I just feel like Bryce Wilson has a little bit more upside. So we'll see how this trade pans out. To put in our lineup, Gerardo Perdomo, who's only 25, 9 home runs, 41 RBI, not known for his power, but 313 average. He's getting on base, all career highs this year. He fits into our team. He'll be a good contact hitter, which we need. We're going to trade Mitch Spence, who's having not a bad year, but definitely tradable, especially with, we got JP Sears, Bryce Wilson now, Casey Mize, Kikuchi. We have a prospect, George Lopez, sitting in the minor league, which is funny. His name is George Lopez. That kind of made me chuckle when I signed him. He's been really good in the minor leagues, 2.64 ERA. And then Joey Estes, again, continues to be solid. So we are able to afford to trade a pitcher like him. And then we're also going to trade Brendan Escobar, who's 24, 44 overall. So not probably going to be very good at all. Maybe he'll turn to something, but I think this is a good trade. We get our shortstop for the future. Of this franchise mode, and listen, we got a way better record than last season, and we're 4 games out of first place, sitting at 53 and 57. Is it a great record? No, but it's definitely an improvement. This division's been very weak, so we definitely have a shot to potentially win this division. Let's say everybody's been performing. Kikuchi's been as good as advertised, 3.61 ERA. Not mad at that at all. Casey Mize, another good year, 3.27 ERA so far. Joey Estes continues to be a reliable starter for us. JP Sears, another good year, 8-6, 3.54 ERA, and then Bryce Wilson, 3.54 ERA. So the whole rotation with the ERA under 4 is very impressive. Lucas Erceg, down year from last year. Hopefully he turns it around. George Lopez definitely needs a demotion. He has not been good at all. 8.24 earned run average. Carl Edwards Jr. continues to be one of the most reliable pitchers we've had. Dylan Floro was worth the price we paid. He's been great, 2.92 earned run average. Zach Jackson just has been, man, that's not good. 6.53 earned run average. Matt Barnes is having a down year as well. Mason Miller's definitely bounced back. We don't have him in the closer role, but he's been good in that setup spot, 3.21. And then Kevin Kelly, 26 out of 31 in save opportunities, ERA under 3. So he's definitely been a really good pickup, and he's taken over that closer role. So if I'm looking at this pitching staff, rotation's been good. Kevin Kelly, Mason Miller, Floro, Carvers Jr., and Erceg. Erceg's been okay. I guess I really should include him. But George Lopez, Jackson, and Barnes have not been getting the job done. So maybe we look to get a reliever. And let's look at this lineup and see how we've been doing. Gerardo Perdomo, fantastic season so far. 10 home runs, 48 RBIs, hitting 306, slugging 447. He's been a hell of a pickup. Jared Kelenic, how about him? 15 home runs, 38 RBIs, 327 average, and slugging over 500. So he's been awesome. Brent Rooker, power's not much there yet, but he's hitting 271. So average is high for Brent, which is good. Patrick Wisdom, how about him? 26 home runs already, 61 RBIs. Could be on his way to back-to-back 30-plus home run campaigns. Shea Langoliers, the power has been good, but the average is way down. Gleyber Torres has been decent for us. He's getting more run with Paul DeJong being out. He can, DH and play second. But, he's been decent. Zach Geloff, not been great so far. Ryan Noda's definitely having a down year. And then Ruiz has not been good at all. 193 average for a guy with speed. You want him getting on base. Not good. Max has been not great. JJ Bleday in that platoon role has been good. Soderstrom continues to put up solid numbers, and Nick Allen has not provided much with the bat. So, lineup, does it need improvement at first? Maybe center, DH, absolutely, and then bullpen wise. So I'm gonna, look through some of these. I'm gonna look at the trade block, see who's out there. I'm gonna see what's on other teams, and I'll let you guys know if we make any moves. The 81 over. I think I have him in another franchise mode. I don't remember how he pitched, but Cade Smith, 1.26 ERA for the Guardians. We're going to trade Jacob Wilson, who's one of our best prospects right now. He's having a really good year in AAA, 11 home runs, 44 RBIs. He's hitting 321, so we're giving up a really good minor league player right here. And we're going to trade Zach Jackson. Maybe the Guardians turn him around. They're very good at getting the most out of pitchers, it seems like. So maybe a change of scenery to do him justice. Jacob Wilson's definitely the big piece going back prospect-wise. So we end up getting Cade Smith. Season is done. We end up finishing 69 and 93. We were looking pretty decent at the trade deadline, and man, it did not go our way in the second half. Mariners end up going on a run, winning division with 91 wins. Astros with 89 wins, getting a wild card. Luckily, didn't finish in last place, but sheesh, thought we would at least finish at least close to 500. That is disappointing. Let's see how everybody did. Perdomo, looks like he went a little bit cold in the second half, but still a great campaign overall for him in his first half a season as an Oakland A. Jared Kelenic really had a great year. 20 home runs, drove in 61, hit 290. Brent Rooker, about where he was last year. Patrick Wisdom with 38 home runs, showing off the power. Shea Langoliers ended up having a better second half. Gleyber Torres was okay off the bench. We'll see if we bring him back. Zach Geloff definitely had a down year. I guess you could say he had a down year. I mean, his numbers were definitely down a little bit, but still provided career highs in RBIs and home runs. Paul DeJong was hurt, but he did have a good year when he was healthy. Ruiz is just not it at all. And we look at the bench, Schumann just hasn't provided much offensively. JJ Bleday with another solid year. Soderstrom got the job done. And then Ryan Noda didn't really do too much. So let's take a look at the pitching. Kikuchi, ERA a little high, but still solid year overall for him. We'll see if we bring him back. We might look to go bigger since our final year. We might look to go, bigger and get a better ace-type pitcher. We'll see. Casey Mize, down year, but still not bad overall. Joey Estes, another solid campaign. J.P. Sears with a better year than last year, which is impressive. And then Bryce Wilson was a good pickup for us. Our rotation, all in all, got the job done. Do we have anybody who had an awesome campaign? No, but everybody was solid. Lucas Erceg, down year, just not it. George Lopez just didn't get the job done in his first major league season. Carl Edwards Jr. with another good campaign. Dylan Floro, probably won't bring him back, but man, was he good for us. Cade Smith was worth the trade acquisition. He got the job done. Kyle Moeller didn't pitch. Mason Miller with the bounce back year. That's what we hoped for. And then Kevin Kelly saved 35 games. So bullpen overall was good. Our pitching overall was good besides George Lopez. Like, overall, everybody had solid years. It just seems like the offense just hasn't been clicking and getting the job done. So that's definitely going to be my number one priority this offseason. Maybe a pitcher to replace Kikuchi and probably a big bat in the lineup. So let me get to work on that, and I will see you guys for the third and final season. Final and third season, we made a few moves. We ended up losing some players as well, so our team's going to look a little different, that's for sure. We signed Michael King to be our number one. Some might consider him a number one, some might not. He didn't really pitch like a number one last year. Still put up a solid year overall, hoping we can get more of his 2023 and 2022 type numbers. We'll see. We still got Casey Mize, Bryce Wilson, George Lopez, J.P. Sears, Joey Estes. So we got some starting pitching depth. We'll see how it goes. Bullpen, we ended up losing a few names. I mean, our bullpen definitely looks a lot weaker. We did sign Clay Holmes to a one-year deal. Coming off a really good year, 2.81 ERA, so he'll be our setup man or maybe our middle relief pitcher. We still got Mason Miller. We got Cade Smith, Kevin Kelly, Lucas Erceg, Kyle Moeller. After that, though, it's a little bleak. We do have Derek Brewster, who's 21 years old. He'll definitely get a opportunity in the pen, I do think. So that should be a new guy to see how he does. We have Shea Langeliers. We ended up getting a catcher in the draft, Willie Morales. Look at this guy, 80 overall already. Definitely makes the possibility we could either use him, Soderstrom, or Langeliers, or possibly even two of them in a trade. We'll have to see where we're setting the trade deadline, but I definitely think that's something we need to look at. First base, we signed Rhys Hoskins coming off a 31 home run campaign. Adds more power to our lineup. Second base, we got Zach Geloff still. We ended up signing Brandon Drury coming off a 17 home run year. 1 year, $3 million deal. Thought it was a gamble worth taking there. Patrick Wisdom still at third base. Shortstop, we got Perdomo. Left field, Kelnick. Ruiz are going to give another shot in center, and then Brent Worker in right field. So we made some changes. We'll see if they pay off. I do think we have enough on this team to make a run. I did say that same thing last season, though, when we end up finishing with a lot of losses. So we'll have to see how this final season goes. I will see you guys. Hopefully, we're looking like we're competing. I'll see you guys at the trade deadline. 53 and 56, 10 games back. We have a shot at winning division, but it's a long shot indeed. We're 1.5 games out of a wild card spot, though. It's been a very weak wild card, especially for that third spot. Asheville sitting at 500 in the final wild card spot. Royals are a game under 500 and a half game out. So definitely have an opportunity here. Let's say everybody's been doing. Ruiz has not been getting the job done. I'm not even sure why he's in the leadoff spot. I'll fix that when we get out of the video. Jared Kelnick has really been a good pickup. 320 average, 20 home runs, 60 RBIs. Perdomo's been okay this year. Patrick Wisdom's not been good at all, hit 171. Rhys Hoskins has been a great pickup. Brent Rooker's having a good year. Tyler Soderstrom's getting more playing time, making the most of it. Shea Langeliers, not sure why they're both in the lineup. That is weird. JJ Bleday's been pretty good for us overall, but not good this year. Shea Langeliers is showing power, not much average. Zach Geloff's been showing power, 20 home runs for Geloff. Hold on now, that's not something I expect to see. Good to see that. Max Schumann's actually hitting for average. Brandon Drury has not been worth the money so far, and then Lawrence Butler's not been good. So our bench has not been great. Michael King's been pitching good so far, no complaints there. Casey Mize, again, another solid start to his camp, or not solid start, but solid first half. Bryce Wilson's having a down year. George Lopez has been meh. And J.P. Sears has been good in that fifth starter spot. Joey Estes, high ERA this year. James Feliz, who's a rookie, not great. Kevin Kelly's been good. Not sure why his overall is dropping. Lucas Urseg, good bounce back year so far. Kyle Muller's been getting the job done. Cade Smith's not been good at all. 7.71 earned run average. Clay Holmes has been a solid acquisition. And then Mason Miller, 5.46 ERA. So I'm seeing a lot of high ERAs in this bullpen, which is not good. I mean, your bullpen's got to get you through late in games. Rotation's got a little bit of high ERA. We look at the trade block. Matt Olson, wouldn't it be funny if we brought him back to Oakland? That'd be kind of a Cinderella story, I guess, if you counted as that. Not really seeing much on the trade block worth getting. So I'm going to look through some trades, see if there's anything that, pops up that's good, and I'll let you guys know if we make any moves. We've gotten Perdomo from him so far. We're going to get Alec Thomas, who's having a really good year, 20 home runs, 70 RBIs. He's only 25. We're going to trade Max Muncy, not the Dodger Max Muncy, the Oakland A Max Muncy. He's having a solid year in AAA. He's only 23. And we're also going to throw in Ruiz, who still has a ton of potential, just hasn't really hit for us the last 2 years. Had a good 2024, just hasn't really been able to replicate that. So we get ourselves a new center fielder. Our bullpen, we're going to get Jorge Alcala, who's pitching in AAA, has been dominant, 1.85. Not sure why he's in AAA. He's been in AAA the last 2 seasons. We're going to add him. We're going to trade Joe Boyle, who doesn't really have an opportunity with this team. And we're also going to trade Seth Elledge, who's a veteran relief pitcher, pitching really well himself in AAA. So pretty even trade with the Minnesota Twins. Is over, and unfortunately, we did not make the playoffs. We finished in second in division, 80 and 82 record. So we definitely made improvements every season. Whether it's good improvements, that is up to you to determine. I think if we would have went 5 seasons in this franchise, we definitely would have had a playoff run. And it's just unfortunately didn't happen. Thought maybe this season will be our lucky season. Let's say everybody did before we wrap up this video. Jared Kelnick was worth the trade. 10 out of 10 for that trade. He's really been good for us. Max Schumann actually hit this season, which is good. Perdomo didn't really have the averages I thought he would with us, but he still had some solid campaigns the last 2 years. Patrick Wisdom, down year, but still gave us 25 home runs. Brent Rooker, 29 home runs, good to see. Reese Hoskins was worth the free agent acquisition. Finishes with 28 home runs, 93 runs batted in. Shea Langoliers, not a bad year. I mean, he's about been doing that the last 4 seasons. J.J. Bleday, another good year for him. Zach Geloff had a career year, 25 home runs, 75 RBIs. And we look at our bench, Tyler Soderstrom, another good backup year for him. Brandon Drury turned around a little bit in the second half. Kyle McCann didn't do much, and Lawrence Butler didn't do much either. Was worth, every penny we gave him. He was good. Casey Mize has been a great pickup for us in the trade. Had another good year, 3.90 ERA. Bryce Wilson had a down year, 5-16. Wow. George Lopez, I'll take that for a number 4 starter. And then Joey Estes ended up bouncing back. We look at the bullpen. Lucas Urseg bounced back tremendously, 2.42 earned run average. Kevin Kelly has been a really good pickup for us in that trade. Kyle Muller, good year for him. Cade Smith just didn't get it done, unfortunately. Jorge Alcala, thought he was going to be a good pickup. 6 innings pitched, ERA of over 11. Yikes. And then Mason Miller, I don't know what it was about Mason Miller. He just was not very good in this franchise overall for us. 2 years of an ERA over 5. It's just a Mason Miller curse for me. I guess he's one of them players who just ain't going to be good for me. Hopefully that's not a trend going forward for him in future franchise modes. Ken didn't do too bad in 1 inning pitched. And then Clay Holmes had an ERA of 4. So Oakland A's fans, I apologize. I thought I could get this team to the playoffs. Unfortunately, it didn't happen. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. Make sure to like and subscribe. Check out our LTQ Wrestling podcast in the link below if you guys enjoy Wrestle Talk, as me and a few buddies of mine always talk wrestling every week. So check that out. I will see you guys in the next franchise episode, which is the Seattle Mariners. So tune in for that. Peace.